In this video, I'm going to share with you probably my worst ever taxi exam failure. Hello everyone, my name's Tom the Taxi Driver and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I share some insights into the London taxi trade. If you enjoy what I do here, please do hit that subscribe button. Now, to become a London taxi driver, we have to sit multiple oral appearances. I did 13 in total, but there could be a lot more on your knowledge journey. What I'm holding here is actually a daily sheet. This is majority of the questions that have been asked at the examination centre. So I had Mr. Patel, and anyone who's done the knowledge, recently or is on it now will tell you that he's a man who loves points, and I got massively outpointed by him. I'd had Mr. Patel previously on 28s, but this second time I went into an appearance of him, it was just completely different. Before I get into how I screwed up on an appearance, here's one way that you don't have to screw up, and that is meal preps from Y-Food. I always carry a Y-Food in my bag because it's so reassuring to know that I can get decent nutrition when I'm out and about, no matter how busy I might be. And now they even do the new vegan editions, check that out. Or if you're a little bit indecisive like me, you can bring out all the flavours and choose them on the go. Check out Y-Food. If you use my discount code down below, you will get 10% off your entire order. Just use TAXI10. The examiners really want to test you, so if you're up for your rec, if you're doing what could be your final examination, they will really push you and test you to make sure that you are of that required standard. That day I didn't. I dropped a hell of a lot of points. In theory, if you waltzed out of that room completely perfect, unscathed, did everything perfectly, you would get 40 points. That's pretty much unheard of. But every time you drop a point, so if he says, right, Mr. Hutley, where is the London Eye? And I say, sorry sir, I don't know that. You then go from 40 down to 39. If he then says, right, where is the Palace of Westminster? I say, don't know sir. You then go down to 38. You keep going and going. And the amount of times I said, well, I'm sorry sir, I don't know, I felt like I must have said that probably about 20 times in that appearance. It was just unreal. So let's have a little look at this. Logan Place to the Science Museum. I would have pulled it. How I pulled it is because Freddie Mercury used to live on Logan Place. And of course the Science Museum, relatively simple point, just on Exhibition Road. Now the tricky thing about this particular run is the leaving. Because you are in a one-way road, Logan Place, it's forcing you west, so it's pulling you away from the Science Museum. And the tricky bit is getting into the Science Museum. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can either stay north of the Cromwell Road or you go south of the Cromwell Road, because you have to do one or the other to get into the Science Museum. So it would have been Logan Place, right Cromwell Crescent, right Pembroke Road, right Earls Court Road, left Cromwell Road, right Queensbury Place, left Harrington Road, left Cromwell Place, right Furlough Place, or bare right Furlough Place, left Exhibition Road. You then set that down. So the actual run, I would have done fine. I probably wouldn't have hesitated that much, and the line would have been pretty good because it's only a short run, but I'm sure I would have dropped a hell of a lot of points to get to that. In fact, I do remember actually dropping things like the Aquarius Hotel, lots of hotels around that Earls Court area that just fizzled out my mind, really. And of course, when you get a bit of a bad start, it's really hard actually to think about your future questions. They don't want you to do, 2 runs, fall apart on one run, and then that completely destroys your appearance. They want to show, right, you screwed up on that one, but can you do the other 3 better? There's another appearance underneath from Mr. Patel, and it looks so much easier. It's like Oxo Tower to London Eye, John Harvard Library to Mernier Chocolate Factory Fair. I mean, that's round the corner. Seems like mine was a much harder appearance, but you never know, unless you're in this situation. Some of these look really easy, but you don't know how many points that person might have dropped. So this is a bit of a longer one. It's from St Saviour's Church on Walton Street, and then going down to Oakmead Road. Oakmead Road, we used to use it as a spin just on Balham High Road because it's like a little one-way road to spin round. So fundamentally, you're getting out of Walton Street. The idea is you've got to get over one of the bridges. In this case, I'm going to be using Albert Bridge because that then flows down neatly, and then you can then line yourself up for Battersea Bridge Road, so you don't have to go around the entire one-way system. And there used to be like a series of streets that would cut you from Clapham over to Balham. I'm gonna go round the Common, Clapham Common west side, and then use like Alfriston Road, Alfriston, Chatto, Rowton, Furley, Ramsden. That would come all the way down and bring you out to Balham High Road. The real damaging run for me, I went from the Brazil Embassy, which is on Cockspur Street, very close to Trafalgar Square, and I ran that to the Mermaid Suite Hotel. Mermaid Suite Hotel is Blenheim Street, which is just off the top of New Bond Street. About 2 weeks prior to my appearance, they'd actually changed the layout of Davy Street and Brook Street, very close to the Claridge's Hotel. So Brook Street used to be only one way east, and Davy Street, I think must have only been one way north. One way north to get you Claridge's. I believed it to be that because these streets had changed around, this was Mr. Patel kind of testing me to think, right, have you been around that area? Have you tested yourself on those streets? I must have gone up Regent Street, left into Maddox Street, forward Grosvenor Street, right Davies Street, right Brook Street, and then, of course, once you get to that point on Brook Street, you're about to come over into New Bond Street, I'm too low. I am below the point. Blenheim Street is like one street above Brook Street. But the only way to get Blenheim Street is you have to come north. You actually have to come in from Vere Street. So once you're at that point on Brook Street, I know exactly what I've done wrong. And I think, fuck, like, I just need to get one street up. But yeah, the only way around it I could do was just to call forward, get yourself into Hanover Square, lead yourself up Hollis Street, into Cavendish Square, come round the back of John Lewis, and then back down Vere Street to then get that right into Blenheim Street. It's the only way to do it. But once I'm in that situation, you can't just go, sorry, can I go again? No, you just have to call your way through it. And you'll get a really bad score for that line, but you'll still get something. I learned this on the previous appearances, and it's kind of what everyone always said on the knowledge anyway. Just call the run, just get them there. Had I at that point put my hands up and said, oh, sorry, I screwed up, let's just forget about that one, I would get 0 points for that because I haven't got the examiner there. But even if I went really, really wide and went around the houses, I still might score like a 4 or something, you know, because I've still got the person there. So a 4 is, of course, better than a 0. And it could, you know, tip the scales in my favour if I was to fail an appearance or was close to failing. I think as well, just not to get blindsided by what else is going on. An acronym that people use a lot in studying or any of these kind of things is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. All I had to do was just run it up Regent Street, left Margaret Street, forward into Cavendish Square, Henrietta Place, Vere Street, drop myself down into New Bond Street, and I'm there. Even on that very final examination, that final appearance, you haven't got to impress them, you just got to do the simple thing, just get them there. I'd like to overcomplicate and think, oh, I'm on 21s now, you know, I've got to demonstrate how good my knowledge of London is. Nah, it could be the most simplest run ever, and the examiners just want to see that you can do it in the most simplest, kind of most efficient way possible. I think I must have done this one last. Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, stage door, and that's going to St Mary Abbots Court. I don't know if it was this question, but one of the other drop points Mr Patel gave me, he just says burger and lobster. In my head, I'm like, well, burger and lobster is a chain. And I never really asked or questioned any examiners. I always took the approach of, you know, speak when spoken to, just, you know, reply with the answers kind of thing. So I knew there was one on Clarges Street, you know, between Curzon Street and Piccadilly. So I just said Clarges Street, and he just went, nope, and just moved on and gave me another point. So that would have been a lost point. Even though I know there is a burger and lobster on Clarges Street, wasn't the one he was thinking of. He didn't actually say the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. He just said Theatre Royal, stage door. Well, there's 3 Theatre Royals in London. You've got the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, which is, you know, arguably one of the main ones. You've got the Theatre Royal on the Haymarket. And of course, there's one in Stratford. Now, on the top of my head, I was thinking, right, the one on the Haymarket, it probably does have a stage door, but it's not accessible by like road. It would be just like Haymarket. So I thought, can't be that one. And I just took a wild guess that it wouldn't be the one on Stratford. Again, I didn't want to ask Mr Patel, like, oh, which one are you talking about, sir? yeah, so I just assumed, yeah, Theatre Royal Drury Lane was the one he was talking about. It's a weird name, it's called Theatre Royal Drury Lane, but the entrance is on Catherine Street. And then I knew that the stage door most likely was on Russell Street, because there's nothing on the back of Drury Lane, there's nothing on, I believe it's Tavistock Street underneath it. And then, yeah, the west side entrance, Catherine Street, is the main doors. So the entrance, the stage door rather, is on Russell Street. I didn't say I think it's on Russell Street, because that used to be another thing with examiners. If you say, oh, I think it's somewhere, they would really probe you and go, you think? And then they'd make you, and they kind of doubt yourself. So you'd always have to have a level of conviction. I'd say Russell Street. And he said, are you sure? I said, Russell Street. And he kept going with this, and then, yeah, eventually let me run it. Now, I was incredibly careful on this run down to St Mary Abbots Court. Whenever you pull a point, you kind of have to think about how you're going to set it as well. The doubt in my mind was that when you're coming westbound, is that you kind of have to do a left into Warwick Gardens, and you have to shimmy across this kind of central reservation to get, like, the set out the front. So I thought, I'm not going to screw this appearance up. I've already screwed up the run going to Blenheim Street. I've lost a lot of points there. If I called an illegal, or if he deems it as an illegal, this would really jeopardise my chances of getting my badge. So I Kensington High Street, right Melbury Road, left Holland Park Road, left Addison Road, and that sets you up perfectly for the forward into Warwick Gardens, and then you can pull over into the entrance for St Mary Abbots Court. And I remember after I called it, he just said, why did you go around there? And I said, well, you know, I thought you might be an issue with possibly setting it, you know, coming down Warwick Gardens. And he sort of looked at me and went, but he didn't drop me too much for that. I think he only dropped me like a point or two for doing that little spin. Everything else, the line was perfect, but being safe and cautious only dropped me a point or so. Were those 4 runs enough for me to score? Unfortunately, no. I walked out with that appearance with a big fat D. What was more annoying is that, you know, you're up for your rec. This was like, yeah, I could get my badge today. This could be it. This could be the end of all examinations, the end of all studying, and I can become a London cab driver. And I failed. Thank you once again for watching this video. If you want to learn a little bit more about the appearance process, check out this video over here. Take care, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.